Welcome to your leadership sanctuary, where we explore the transformative power of intuitive leadership. I'm your host, Nicole, and on this podcast, we're not just dipping our toes into the water, we're putting on the wetsuit, baby. We're going to take a new approach to leadership where we dive deep into your intuition and how it shapes you to be an effective leader from the boardroom and beyond. Get ready for elevated insights, a little bit of laughs, and a big splash of inspiration as we navigate the waters of intuitive leadership together. So come on, let's go beyond the surface and create meaningful change in the world. Because as I always say, leadership is not about the title, it's about the impact. This is the Leader's Sixth Sense. Hey, dreamer. Welcome to episode 2 of The Leader's Sixth Sense, the podcast where we explore the mysterious, the mystical, and the downright magical aspects of leadership. This week, we're going deeper into your mystic mind and uncovering your inner mystic leader. And guess what? We've also got a fun intuition challenge at the end that will make your mystic senses tingle with anticipation. So, are you ready? Let's kick it. Now, our intuition, as we learned last week, is defined on Wikipedia as the ability to acquire knowledge without recourse to conscious reasoning or needing an explanation. You know, that feeling when your gut's like, hey, trust me on this? That's your intuition at work. No Wikipedia needed. Now, upon obtaining my NLP practitioner certification, NLP meaning neuro-linguistic programming, I learned a vast amount of information about the unconscious, or what other people call the subconscious mind. And this is what stores all of our memories. It's also where all learning, all behavior, and all change occurs, where all of our habits are created, where our emotions live, and where all our instinctive or intuitive behaviors come from. So, in contrast, the conscious mind is like the captain of the ship, giving orders and making decisions based on all logical reasoning and our immediate perception. Okay, this is your brain doing the work. Then you have your unconscious mind, on the other hand, which is the crew working behind the scenes. This crew is the one that makes sure your ship runs smoothly. And not only do they handle your basic bodily functions, the things that make you live, but it also has deeply ingrained patterns from your past that influence your present day thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So much of our human population has a very unaware relationship between their conscious and their unconscious minds. Although this is very slowly improving with the increase in research and shared knowledge. Now, think of back when you hear about witches, right? Many years ago, before technology. They were condemned and they were burned at the stake, literally. And because of this, people had so much negative thoughts and emotions towards these poor women and men who, used magic and used the knowledge that they have inside of them to be connected to source. Now, in today's world, it's much nicer than the way that it was previously, right? Like, we're actually able to live freely and share knowledge and be able to expand ourselves beyond what is historically known, right? So, with our unconscious mind, intuitive insights, they often come from our emotional memories. They pick up on subtle cues that are different from what we're used to. Like when we were talking about driving last week and how if traffic flow starts changing, maybe our intuition will tell us to go a different direction. But our mystic leader goes even deeper than this. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean when I say mystic leader. Well, it's basically a fun way that I like to describe our higher self. This higher self is like the Gandalf to your Frodo, or the Yoda to your Luke Skywalker, or even the Dumbledore to your Harry Potter. It's that wise, intuitive part of us that guides and nudges us towards our true path. Exciting, right? So, if you're listening to this podcast, then I'd like to assume that you and I are very well connected and that we have similar understandings about the 3D, 4D, and 5D plus realms, their universal energy, and their connection to source. So, our higher self or our mystic leader is that all knowing aspect of us that operates way beyond the confines of our conscious and even our unconscious mind. It's connected to source and has access to an unlimited reservoir of energy, wisdom, and insight. So, when we're connected to this realm of energy and elevated consciousness, it's like having an internal mentor who's been around since the dawn of time, who knows your strengths, your challenges, and the best path for you to take. That's your higher self, your mystic leader. It's always there, whispering subtle hints and nudges, helping you navigate through life with a sense of purpose and clarity. So, when we think of intuition, it's so much deeper than just a feeling or emotional memory. I literally have goosebumps right now. I love talking about this stuff. Oh gosh. So our unconscious mind, it allows us to connect with our intuition, but ultimately we must open up the connection with our mystic leader even deeper and connect with our spiritual guides to source that allows us to truly harness the full power of our intuition. Now, I know what you're thinking again. Nicole, what in the world does all of this have to do with leadership? I'll tell you, literally everything, especially since we're talking about intuitive leadership. And yes, when we think of entrepreneurship or business or even having a career, there are numbers and strategies like KPIs and SWOT analyses, marketing techniques, and all sorts of other business analytics. But beyond all of that is the knowledge that I'm sharing with you today. This connection we have to our mystic leader is so incredibly important. It allows us to have a deeper understanding and connection to ourselves and to the universe, thus increasing our vibration and allowing us to attract a vast amount of success and abundance. Hello, law of attraction, anyone? But anyway, we're not going to talk about that today. The number one goal of intuitive leadership is to cultivate and leverage a very deep inner wisdom to really make decisions that are not only effective, but also aligned with what you truly value and the collective well being of your team, your organization, your clients, or even on a larger scale, the whole world. This involves trusting and honing your intuition to navigate complex and dynamic situations with insight and having empathy and being authentic. So, intuitive leadership goes way beyond those traditional metrics of success, like those profits and productivity. And instead, it emphasizes the importance of holistic and sustainable outcomes. It aims to create a harmonious balance between achieving organizational goals and nurturing the emotional, mental, and spiritual well being of everybody involved. At its core, intuitive leadership is all about leading from a place of deep understanding and authentic connection to both ourselves and those around us. But what does that really look like in practice? Well, to help us navigate this concept, I've created a framework that encapsulates the core principles of intuitive leadership. I call it INSIGHT. And yes, I love acronyms because they make remembering things way more fun. Don't you agree? So let's start with the first I in insight. That is intuition and innovation. By now, you already know all about intuition, and of course, it has to be part of the intuitive leadership framework. I don't need to go too deep into this, but I'm certain that you'll understand and agree that by tuning into that inner wisdom, you'll uncover so many more innovative solutions that may not have been immediately obvious otherwise. Just imagine your intuition as a creative partner who's always whispering those sweet nothings or brilliant ideas into your mind. All you need to do is just listen. And when you listen to that inner voice that is telling you all of these creative ideas, when I talk inner voice, we're not talking about the inner critic or the voice that tells us all the bad things to do or what not to do or the fears that you have. I'm talking about that intuitive voice in your head that is giving you those, like I said, those brilliant ideas that push you forward and help you grow and thrive and become that leader, that innovator, that incredible human being that you're always meant to be. So just listen to that voice and understand and recognize the difference between that voice and your inner critic. Next up, we have nurturing relationships and EQ, or emotional intelligence. Effective leadership is all about building genuine connections with others. Think of your clients or your customers, maybe your team or even your business partners as a garden. You must water them with empathy and sunlight for it to flourish. And when we talk about sunlight, I'm going to refer to that as open communication. Having that open line with the people in your world and communicating with them effectively to build that relationship even further. Then you have your emotional intelligence within that, which is your ability to understand and manage emotions. Having emotional intelligence is like having a green thumb for relationships. It helps you navigate all of those interpersonal dynamics with a lot more sensitivity and insight, allowing you to create a vast culture of trust and collaboration where everyone involved feels so much more valued. Now, in order for you to have nurturing relationships with others, you must also have a nurturing relationship with yourself. So the S in insight stands for self-awareness and spirituality. This is the key to understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and even your motivations as a leader. Having self awareness enables you to lead authentically and make decisions that are aligned with your values and your ultimate purpose on this earth, which in turn allows you to create those meaningful and lasting relationships with everyone else around you. When you deepen your spiritual connection, you gain that grounding force of source, enhancing your intuition to guide your ethical leadership choices that benefit both yourself and your community. So the next I in insight stands for integrity and influence. Integrity forms the foundation of trustworthy leadership. When leaders consistently demonstrate honesty and fairness and even ethical behavior, they'll inspire trust and respect. It's like having a superpower, and with great integrity comes great influence. So just remember, influencing with integrity means shaping a culture where ethical standards are the norm, not the exception. Moving forward to the G in insight, and that is growth and goal setting. Us intuitive leaders, we prioritize continuous growth, both personally and professionally. As an intuitive leader, you must set clear and meaningful goals that align with your vision. This allows you to feel more motivated within yourself and also to help motivate your team to strive for excellence. If you don't have a team, then just make sure that you focus on your goals and how they align with your values. So just picture yourself as a gardener again. This time, you're planting seeds of growth and nurturing them into a bountiful harvest of success. And when you do that, just visualize all of the beautiful fruits and vegetables from your garden of success that you have cultivated as a result of your motivation and your continuous will to grow. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? All right, so next we're going to move on to the H in insight, and that stands for holistic impact. Intuitive leadership goes way beyond immediate outcomes. It considers the broader impact on the entire world, taking into account yourself, your clients, your customers, your team, your business partners, everybody, and even think of the environment as well. After nurturing and cultivating every single ingredient in your garden to create that harmonious balance, you want to ensure your recipe for success keeps that harmonious balance as best as you can while still embracing all the ups and downs of life. Just like Carmen on The Bear. And if you haven't watched The Bear, go and download Disney Plus, do whatever you got to do. You have to watch this show. It's absolutely incredible. And so just like he meticulously crafts a dish, he also ensures their restaurant's recipe for success includes sustainability, equity, and well-being for everyone in the kitchen and in the dining room. Despite all challenges on the path to achieving excellence, intuitive leaders like Carmen shape their decisions thoughtfully to benefit everyone involved. Corner! Now, moving swiftly into the final dish, we have transparency and trust. Building a culture of trust is so crucial for effective leadership. By prioritizing transparent communication and valuing diverse perspectives, you create an environment where teams thrive and collaboration becomes second nature. Trust is the glue that holds everything together, ensuring that everyone is aligned and working towards common goals. So there you have it. Insight. It's not just an acronym, it's a guiding star for intuitive leadership. And by embracing these principles, you'll enhance your leadership skills and create an environment where everyone can flourish. So lead with authenticity, empathy, and a clear vision for positive change. And just watch how your intuitive leadership transforms your life and the lives around you. In essence, the foremost goal of intuitive leadership is to harness the power of your intuition so that you can lead in a way that is deeply connected to source, allowing you to tap into that massive amounts of wisdom so that you can be a much more effective leader where you can foster environments where people thrive and your organization will flourish. So, by embracing these principles, again, you're not only going to enhance your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Now that we have identified the foundational understanding of intuitive leadership, it's time for the moment that you have been waiting for since last week. We're going to explore some practical techniques that can help you enhance your intuition and cultivate your skills as an intuitive leader. Just kidding. Before we get into that, I really want to highlight some wisdom from the one, the only, Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the greatest Roman emperors and is considered one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. His philosophical reflections, later compiled as meditations, offer timeless wisdom on topics like virtue, resilience, and the nature of existence. Stoicism itself is a philosophical school that emphasizes rationality, virtue, and resilience in facing life's challenges. It also advocates for inner peace through acceptance of the natural order and enhances your self-control to become detached from all the destructive emotions. Some believe that Stoicism teaches people to have no emotions whatsoever, but I personally don't believe that. Like any complex philosophy, Stoicism can be misinterpreted or even oversimplified, leading to misunderstandings or even superficial applications of its principles. I believe it teaches us to focus on what you can control and to live in accordance with reason and moral virtue. all of the principles of Stoicism and even the principles that I defined earlier in how I describe intuitive leadership may not align with everyone, and that's okay. Philosophy is a deeply personal journey, so what resonates with one person may not fully resonate with another. The important thing is to explore, question, and find what truly speaks to your own experiences and beliefs. So, whether you embrace Stoicism or another philosophy, the goal is to grow, to learn, and to utilize the knowledge that you've gained to lead a more thoughtful and intentional life. So, if you've ever read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, my goodness, I'm sure you understand what a mind he has. And I think he's kind of funny too. Now, I'm going to read you a passage from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and I'm reading this from the Penguin Classics book that has been translated by Martin Hammond. This passage, it really highlights Marcus's intellect and humor, and it also outlines a lot of the philosophical nature of intuitive leadership. So this is from Book 9, and it's passage number 29. And it says, "The universal cause is a torrent, sweeping everything in its stream. So, man, what does that mean for you? Do what nature requires at this moment. Start straight away if that is in your power. Don't look over your shoulder to see if people will know. Don't hope for Plato's utopian republic, but be content with the smallest step forward and regard even that result as no mean achievement. How worthless are these little men in the public eye who think their actions have nothing to do with philosophy? They are full of snot. And who will change their views? Without a change of view, what alternative is there to slavery? Men groaning and going through the motions of compliance? Go on, then. Talk to me now of Alexander and Philip and Demetrius of Phalerum. I shall follow them if they saw the will of universal nature and took themselves to her school. But if they simply strutted a dramatic role, no one has condemned me to imitate them. The work of philosophy is simple and modest. Do not seduce me to pompous pride." Okay, maybe it's not that funny, but when I read it, I had a little bit of a giggle when it said they are full of snot, because why not be a little bit childish, right? But I really love this passage because it underlines the importance of aligning our actions with natural principles, valuing small steps forward, and maintaining humility. For us intuitive leaders, it really does highlight the significance of authentic action, philosophical consistency, and celebrating that incremental progress. Now, don't worry, you don't have to go and read all of his meditations book to understand what he is saying. And even still, many of the passages in meditations are so abstract that it really does take some time to grasp. Together, we're going to break this passage down to highlight certain points that he has and their relevance to intuitive leadership. So, Marcus speaks of the universal cause as a powerful and unstoppable torrent. This represents the natural order or fate, the force that moves everything in the universe. In Stoicism, it's known as logos. For Marcus, the universal cause is an expression of the interconnectedness and rational structure of the universe. For intuitive leaders, this means understanding and accepting the flow of life and its events. You must recognize that some things are way beyond our control, so we must adapt and act in alignment with this natural flow. Embracing this mindset will help you to navigate the complexities of leadership and really your entire life with so much more grace and resilience. And there's this one really special person in my life. And if she's listening to this podcast, she's going to know exactly who she is. But when I was growing up as a young child, she would always tell me to go with the flow. And as a young kid, you don't really understand what that means. Like, how do you go with the flow? And so I'm so glad that no matter what I said or did, she would always just tell me to go with the flow. And as the years went on, I really started to embrace this mindset of going with the flow. And it really wasn't until, I don't know, I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago when I truly started embracing this flow. And so if she's listening right now, I love you so much. And I'm so grateful for your inspiration in my life and all of the things that you've taught me, because you have been just one of the very most influential people in my life. So thank you. I love you. Anyways, let's go back to Marcus. So next, he advises us to do what nature requires at this moment. This means that you must focus on what needs to be done in the present and do what is within your power without seeking any external validation or even recognition. As intuitive leaders, this translates to leading with authenticity and integrity and focusing on the task at hand rather than seeking approval or recognition from that specific task. So when you seek out recognition or approval from others, you start to overthink things. You start to, put yourself down if you don't get that recognition. Just focus on what that value or what value that task brings and how you can add the most value to it. And in doing so, you must trust your intuition to guide you in taking the right actions, and you'll find yourself making much more meaningful progress. And so Marcus, he also cautions against waiting for perfect conditions or an ideal scenario, like, for example, Plato's Utopian Republic. Instead, he encourages us to appreciate and value even small progress and achievements. For us, this means you have to be realistic and down to earth. Celebrate even the smallest victories because you are taking small steps to have that incremental progress. So celebrate it. All of the progress that you make, even if it's just the smallest thing, it is all contributing to your larger goals and long-term success. And when I say small victories, it doesn't just mean celebrating the things that you won. You also need to celebrate the failures that you have, because failure is way more than just what you see it as for face value. Failure teaches you how to do better next time. So when you do fail, celebrate it and think of ways that you can do better to ultimately achieve that goal that you want. And when we talk about failures, that is a whole nother podcast episode. So I'll save that for another day. And we'll just continue on with this meditations passage. So Marcus also goes into critiquing public figures, right? And he describes those who separate their actions from philosophical principles as insincere and hypocritical. This is a really powerful reminder for us as intuitive leaders to lead with philosophical principles and integrity. Again, they don't have to align specifically with Stoicism or even specifically with intuitive leadership like I defined earlier. So it's all, again, about doing what you value and what you believe in. Avoid the trap of performing for appearances and external validation. Your actions should be rooted in those values and ethical beliefs. Marcus also emphasizes the importance of having consistency, stating that true leadership and greatness comes from adhering to philosophical wisdom and natural principles, not from playing dramatic roles or seeking that glory. As intuitive leaders, we should emphasize substance over style at all times. Be consistent in your values and your actions, and just stay true to what you value and what you believe in. Finally, Marcus highlights the simplicity and modesty of philosophy, warning against grandeur and pride. For intuitive leaders, this means maintaining humility and focusing on the essence of leadership, which is serving others and making ethical decisions that benefit everyone. Avoid the trap of arrogance and pride, and you'll foster a much more authentic and supportive leadership environment. Now, while this passage isn't 100% my absolute most favorite, but it's definitely up there in the top 3. Each meditations book, there's books within the book if you haven't read it before. Each book shows his character, but I feel this one passage does more so than many others. His philosophical insights have personally influenced a lot of my approach to leadership and life. He teaches us the value of acting according to nature and, again, just accepting that flow of life. Now, in the context of intuitive leadership, again, this means embracing our inner wisdom and guiding our actions with authenticity and integrity. So, when we talk about awakening our inner mystic or our mystic leader, we're essentially discussing the alignment of our actions with this deeper wisdom of the universe and understanding. It's all about leading from a place of consistency, recognizing the interconnectedness of our actions and the universe, and again, just trusting that natural flow of life. Okay, now I promise we are going to talk about awakening our intuition, but just one more moment, I promise. These practical techniques may seem straightforward and simple, but you must understand how crucial they are if you really want to build your intuitive capabilities. After practicing these techniques for many years, I can literally call upon my intuition at any time to help guide me. I would be lying if I said I didn't call upon my intuition to even decide which grocery store to go to. I vividly remember one time when I was thinking about which grocery store to go to that week, and I know it seems like an easy decision, but there are some grocery stores that have things I really enjoy, and other grocery stores don't have that. So I used to just look in the flyers to see which one has the most sales, and if that one item that I really wanted that week is on sale. But I've stopped doing that now that I'm more in tune with my intuition. And so this one time really taught me a lesson here. So I'm driving to the store and I think, do I want to go to Superstore or do I want to go to Safeway? And so Safeway, I don't know if you have it in all of Canada or even in the US, but at least where I live, we have a store called Safeway. And they have this hummus that I really like, and it's the Compliments garlic hummus. It's so good and so creamy. I absolutely love it. But then Superstore also had these vegan cheesy puffs that I was craving. And they're like Cheetos and they're like the puffy ones. It's all plant-based and gluten-free, all of that great stuff. They're good, but they're really not that good for you, It's a good junk food. But I did not want to go to both stores. So when I tapped into my intuition to see which one would be the best place to go, my intuition said Safeway with the garlic hummus, but my mind really wanted those cheesy puffs. So I ignored my intuition and I just went with the cheesy puffs. But can you guess what happened? Well, not only did they not have the cheesy puffs in stock, but the store was insanely busy and the lineups were so long. And it just wasn't a great experience because I had my daughter with me. She was impatient. I was all over the place. And yeah, it was not really the greatest grocery shopping experience. So, lesson learned there. I really need to just listen to my intuition, and so do you. Okay, now what you've been waiting for this whole time, it's time to go over the techniques. And hey, just remember to listen to that gut feeling. It's always right. So, first up, meditation and mindfulness practices. These are powerful tools to quiet the mind and connect with your inner self and your mystic leader. Regular meditation seriously helps you tune into those subtle intuitive nudges to gain clarity in your decision-making process. So just try setting aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence, focus on your breath, and let go of any distractions. I know it's really hard to do it at first without any sort of guidance. So if that's you, you're new to meditation, then I highly recommend just going on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, looking up guided meditations. There's so many guided meditations that are available for different kinds of practices. And so there's so many available and they're so incredibly helpful. I'm even working on creating some of my own guided meditations. So watch out for those to come in the near future. But there's some that you can do while you're awake, and there's also meditations that you can do while you're asleep. So even if you can't do a meditation while you're awake one day, or maybe you forgot to do it, I highly recommend still doing the sleeping meditations, because even when you're sleeping, your body is still taking in information into your unconscious mind. So just take some time, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, set a timer, or not a timer, but set a reminder in your phone for the same time every day to just take that time for yourself so that you can really connect with your inner self, your spirit guides, source, and have that connection that you can call upon at any time. And meditation and mindfulness, there's so many benefits other than just building your intuition. So if you're not already into doing meditations, I highly recommend just giving it a shot just for 1 week, and see how you feel. Next, we have dream analysis and journaling. Your dreams are such a rich source of intuitive insights. This is how you connect to that spirit world whenever you're sleeping, right? You are connected to the highest of knowledge in your dreams. So I recommend keeping a journal by your bed to jot down any dreams as soon as you wake up. Over time, you may start to notice patterns or reoccurring themes that offer some valuable guidance. And so if you're the kind of person where you wake up and you're grumpy and maybe you just do not want to write anything down, that's okay. I've been there too. I recommend just putting a voice memo on your phone, or even just putting a few words into your notes on your phone as well. Having just a few words will help you to remember what it is that you were dreaming about, so that you can reflect on your dreams in the future and help yourself tap into the inner wisdom of your unconscious mind. Now, if you find that you don't remember your dreams often, try exploring different forms of creative expression to provide alternative pathways to your intuitive discovery. Just try experimenting with different mediums or artistic techniques that truly resonate with you. The act of creating art can serve as a very powerful tool for introspection and connecting with your inner wisdom. When you immerse yourself in creative endeavors, you truly create a space where your intuition can flow freely. So just pay attention to the emotions and the ideas that you have that come up during these moments of creativity. They often hold very valuable clues and intuitive nudges. And then finally, we have nature. Using nature and solitude to tap into your intuition is another phenomenal method. Spend some time in nature away from the hustle and bustle of your daily life, and doing so will allow you to reconnect with the natural world and your own inner voice. So just take maybe 5, 10, even 30 minutes each day to take a walk in the park, a hike in the mountains if you can, or just sit by a river, because nature has a calming way of relaxing the mind and enhancing your intuitive awareness. Whenever you are out in nature, I also recommend taking off your shoes so that you can really ground yourself in the healing energy of the earth. Our shoes act as a barrier to the energy from the earth. So when you take them off and just put your feet on the ground, you will feel that beautiful energy coming up from the earth, and you'll just feel so well connected to yourself and the universe. It's just so beautiful. And nature, who doesn't love nature, right? So just remember, intuition thrives in moments of openness and receptivity. And these are just a few of the many ways that you can enhance your intuitive capabilities. It's so important to understand that everyone has access to this. You don't have to be a special person or have special capabilities, because everybody has this capability. It's just a matter of getting in tune with it, understanding yourself, working with yourself. And it doesn't happen overnight either. Not only does it take time to build your intuition and the connection you have with it, but you also must do some shadow work. Shadow work is a whole nother ball game, and I will definitely have an episode on that in the future. But for now, we're just going to focus on building that foundational knowledge of intuitive leadership. So, we're about to wrap up with our fun intuition challenge, but I wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for your time to listen to this week's episode. I am so excited to be a part of your journey of intuitive leadership. Remember, leadership isn't just about the title, it's about the impact you make and the legacy you leave behind. So, if you're eager to dive deeper into these concepts and discover how intuitive leadership will transform your life, then I invite you to take the next step. Visit my website, www.lifeupscaled.com, to schedule your strategy session with me so that we can begin working together one-on-one, where we'll tailor strategies to your unique leadership style, uncover your hidden strengths, and pave the way for your personal and professional growth. Together, we'll begin your personalized journey to awaken your inner mystic leader and cultivate that profound intuition inside of you. After just one session, you'll go from having only a dream in your mind to taking purposeful action. We'll cultivate your intuitive leadership skills and create a future where you lead with purpose and vision, changing the world and creating the greatest impact that inspires a new generation of visionary leaders. All right, Intuition Explorers, now it's time to introduce a fun challenge that's sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. It's time for our mystery intuition question. And I think we're going to make this a regular thing just to keep things a little fun around here. So here's how it works. I'm going to ask you a question that will test your intuitive abilities. I want you to trust your gut and make a choice that is based purely on your intuition. Then tune in next week and I'll tell you the answer so that you can see how well your intuition guided you. And remember, there are no wrong answers here, so just go with what your gut says, okay? Are you ready? All right, close your eyes. And I want you to imagine you're walking through a dense forest. You come across a fork in the path with two signs. One sign points left and says Mystery Cave, and the other sign points right and says Enchanted Lake. You don't have any map or additional information. Which path do you intuitively choose to take, and why? Take a moment. Really tune in to your inner wisdom. Which path is calling out to you? Is it the mysterious allure of the cave or the enchanting promise of the lake? Once you've made your choice, I want you to write it down and reflect on why you felt drawn to that particular path. Next week, I'll reveal what each path represents and share some fascinating insights about the power of our intuitive choices. So don't forget to write down your answer and your thoughts. If you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, put your answer in the comments or feel free to DM me on my socials at Life Upscaled on basically everything. I'm always excited to engage with you, so feel free to reach out to me at any time. And remember, trust your gut, and I'll see you next week with the big reveal, where we'll also be talking about how to integrate intuitive leadership into your daily life. Thank you so much for listening. Stay curious and stay inspired. Until next time.